all you motherfuckers. This is the king of the one-night stands, Jock Samson, and you're listening to the one and only Main Event Podcast, baby.
Talking about wrestling from the day in the past. It's gonna be a blast. Johnny and Harmon are the Main Event Podcast.
Big Bad Harmon, what the fudge is happening? I don't know why I just said fudge, but what's up, man? How are you?
I am excited, Johnny. I got us a guest tonight.
You did. I put that on you. I said, get us a guest, and you got us a guest.
I got my brother from another mother. Actually, I showed a picture of him to my mother, and she said, "When did you get a cowboy hat?"
Nice.
And I said, "Ma, I don't own a cowboy hat. That's Jock Samson." She said, "Oh,
Jock Samson.
I thought that was you with a cowboy hat back when you had your head shaved and your beard was looking good." And I was like, "No, that's just Jock. He's handsome."
That's amazing. Your own mother couldn't tell the difference between you and
I told Jock that he tricked my own mother, and he just sent me a bunch of LOLs on Twitter.
Amazing. Yeah. We got Jock Samson on the show tonight. It's going to be ridiculous.
It's about 3 years in the making. We've been talking to Jock.
Yeah, man. We keep saying, hey, we got to get you on. And then finally, we pulled the trigger on it. And we got him on. It's great. I'm pumped about it. So, fuck it. Let's do some really quick plugs and then just get to the interview because I don't want to waste any time because it's fun. So, real quick plugs. You guys can check us out at Main Event Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are on Podbean, iTunes, and now we are also on Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, and goddamn it, Spotify. Get your shit together. We need to get approved on Spotify.
Well, Spotify I hear is losing like millions of dollars a day. So
yeah,
don't hold it, brother. I thought Stitcher was dead too. What happened to that? That came back.
It did. Stitcher's back. I actually like the platform. I think it's cool. Like the whole layout's really neat. I dig it. But yeah, so we're on all that stuff. If you guys want to rate, review, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, you guys want to give us a call, which our guest tonight, Jock Samson, did at one point last season. Use our hotline, 929-260-3099. Leave us a voicemail. You can text us. We'll read it on the air. Whatever. Teespring. Go to our Teespring store. Harmon just put up some flags and I don't know, all kinds of stuff. Socks. I saw some socks on there, Harmon.
Did you? Oh yeah. Don't Teespring and drink. Okay.
Yeah,
just don't do it.
You went hog wild on that Teespring. So if you guys want some cool deals on Teespring, go there. You get a shirt, get a hoodie, get a flag, get some socks, get some stickers, get some little kid shirts, whatever you guys want. It's on there. Great prices. Dive in on that. And then speaking of great prices and great gear, strongstylebrand.com/main event pod. Go there, pick out all this fun stuff, put it in your cart. And then when you go to checkout, enter code main event pod. You're going to get 10% off of your purchase. And it's a great way to support the podcast because a little bit of that gets kicked back our way. So if listeners of the show, if you guys are buying Strong Style brand merch and not using that code, shame on you. Shame on you. Your loss.
Yeah. So, looking at you, Alex.
Looking at you, Alex. Looking at you, Jess. Called out.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's about it. That's it.
Oh, shout out to Jess for breaking her leg in like 3 different places.
Unbelievable, Jess. You're
oh my God.
But speaking of Jess, she's gonna have some photos for sale at the new the Limitless show on the 30th.
That's right. She's gonna be out of work for a while, guys. So
she's out of work with the broken.
So let's help her out. Let's as a wrestling community help Jess out. She loves wrestling. She's taking some pretty good pictures here, and she's going to be trying to move some of them to help herself out here. So
yeah. So she's gonna have a table at the Limitless show on the 30th. At the Armory, at the Westbrook Armory. So if you go there, you see her table, check out her pictures. She's going to have some for sale. Buy a pic, help her out. So, and
buy a picture, sign her Aircast,
Yeah, exactly. That'd be ridiculous. We love you, Jess. But yeah. And then obviously the Limitless show on the 30th. I mean, geez, it doesn't even need plugging. I mean, we'll do it real quick, but yeah, it's on the 30th. and it's going to be a ridiculous fucking show. Like, I don't even know what more I can say, but tickets are flying. Like, they don't need this plug. Tickets are fucking flying. I got MJF on my ticket, by the way. I do have my ticket, Harmon. You yell at me every show about it, but I do have my ticket. It has MJF on it.
I got AR Fox on mine.
I wish I had AR Fox on mine. I like AR Fox way more than MJF.
Also, What Wrestling down in Providence this weekend on the 11th. You got JT Dunn versus Low Key.
Oh, Jesus.
That's happening.
What a dream matchup. Yeah.
I'm trying to convince somebody to run down there and see that. So
there you go. You going to go?
Yeah. Maybe. We'll see.
All right. All right. Let's get to this fucking interview because it's awesome. And so for your listening,
Jock Samson.
Samson, for your listening pleasure, here is Jock Samson. All right, listeners, welcome to the show, Mr. Jock Samson. What's going on tonight, Jock?
Oh, not a hell of a lot, fellas. Just sitting here at my house. I've been watching, a little bit of NBA action and just actually turned it on. The Raptors and the Pistons are on, and I'm just trying to relax a little bit before I wake my ass up at 5 o'clock and go train.
Nice.
So
NBA action. Who's your NBA team? What do you
I don't have an NBA team per se.
Yeah.
But LeBron James is the greatest professional basketball player of all time.
Whoa.
And anybody who disagrees with me is wrong.
Better than MJ.
Michael Jordan was a great shooter. We can talk about this all day. LeBron would destroy him in one-on-one. He's 6'8", 240 pounds. He's going to be a top 3 scorer in the history of the NBA, and he's a better passer than he is a scorer. So that tells you a lot about LeBron James as a player. Great defense.
Nice. I would have never pegged you to be such an NBA connoisseur. I think that's awesome, man. It's good.
I am an all-around sports fan. I hate soccer because I think that girls play soccer.
Nice. I dislike soccer as well because I think American football is the real football. So there you go.
Yeah, I voted for Donald Trump, man. I mean, I ain't gonna like that sissy soccer because any country that's worshipped soccer in the world has been conquered at one time or another.
Very good. Very good. I like that logic.
That is true.
Yep, that is a foolproof logic right there. So yeah, man, like I mentioned before we got on the air, we've kind of been, we tag each other in a lot of Twitter stuff. Harmon and I actually we came across you, I think, a couple years ago when you were doing stuff with old wrestling. When you're
old time wrestling.
Yeah, old time wrestling. Where you were tagging with Chuck Taylor. And that's kind of like how we came to kind of know you. And then we hooked up with you on Twitter and just we kind of been conversing over there. And like I said, man, we've been trying to get you on. And finally, here we are. We got you on. And we basically want to know, we want to know the Jock Samson story, man. We want to know where you come from, how you started, all that stuff. So where are you from, man, originally?
Well, I grew up in a town in southeastern Ohio by the name of Nelsonville, Ohio. It is the home of Rocky Shoes and Boots. And if anybody there has never heard of them, it's always the baseball cap that Shawn Michaels has on. He is sponsored from Rocky Shoes and Boots. It's a big boot company.
Oh, nice.
And
I know Rocky Boots.
Yeah, it's right there in my hometown. We used to get free pairs of shoes growing up because I played football there. I was all-state football player there. And we went to state playoffs, undefeated regular season. And then they gave everybody on the football team a free pair of Rocky boots. And I had them for like 25 years. Great boot. But grew up in a small town. I played music, believe it or not, after I graduated high school because I was a country singer. And we toured all over the, Midwest and down to Nashville. I traveled all over. And then when I turned 26 years old, I wanted to be a pro wrestler, because I always was a fan growing up as a kid, and
one day, this country music thing's not really for me anymore. I'm gonna go.
Well, I did it because I could do it. It was one of those things that I knew I could sing. So I did it because I knew I could sing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kind of a deal. And
like
because the chicks were in it. And the chicks.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Chicks dig country music stars and pro wrestlers. So you're, again, with your logic, man, I'm right there with you. That's great.
Now, those are, they don't call them rats. They're groupies, right? Groupies.
Hey, man, I didn't call them really much. I just was called them willing.
Nice. So you're 26. You just say, "Hey, I'm gonna stop doing the music thing. I'm gonna be a pro wrestler." So where do you go from there? What's around there that you could accomplish this? Who do you go to?
Well, at first I got hooked up with an outlaw promotion in southeastern Ohio, and I went to a school called Hocking College, and I used to work in a gym. And a bunch of the fellas that used to work there, they all hung out, and they came in the gym one day and they said, "Hey, man, you got a great personality. You're big and strong. Have you ever thought about wrestling?" And I said, to be honest, I said, I've always wanted to be a wrestler, but I always wanted to be a manager to start because I really wanted to be a manager before a wrestler.
Interesting. Okay.
So they brought me in, and the very next week, believe it or not, they had me out there managing somebody.
Nice. Very cool.
So when I was out there managing, I was managing guys that had terrible physiques, had terrible anything. And I was, I'm a kind of a big guy. I'm about 280 pounds, but I'm like a beer gut 280, like Dick Murdoch fat. Except no bird legs and buggy whip arms.
Right.
And I was bigger than all these other guys, and they said, "You need to wrestle." And then about the same time, this other fella came down there. His name was Mike Cowerton. He wasn't a very popular guy by anybody, but he had a connection with a guy who wrestled in at Smoky Mountain. He was trained at Smoky Mountain by Tim Horner and Jim Cornette. And his name is Brian Logan. And he was in the Disciples of Sin at OVW, the group that had Batista in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
He was the fellow with hair that I helped there.
Okay.
So,
nice.
So, and I found out he was training people, and I got hooked up with him, and he made me realize that, my gift of gab could make my style of wrestling. I wouldn't have to do anything insane. I got a lot of personality, a lot of bullshit, and trained me up, and been going at it ever since.
So how long before you so you're managing? Logan brings you in, he trains you up. How long before you get your first match? Are you still managing while you're training, just to kind of get the experience, kind of just to be out there, or how's that work?
Not for a few weeks after I started. Not for a few weeks. Yeah. Like, honestly, I had my first match because everything came naturally easy to me. Like, all the bumps, I picked them all up, everything up the first day. Yeah. How to hit the ropes, how to do front bumps. I could do cartwheels. I still can do cartwheels. I was really agile. And I just naturally could pick everything up. And it was within like a month I was wrestling.
Nice.
And they put me in my first match, and I won my first match on accident.
Oh no. Do tell. How does that work?
Oh, well, this person gave me a crawl. I don't even remember who the hell it was, because it just, I'm about terrible with this kind of stuff. I know I've just kept track of how many matches I have. I just never write down who.
Okay.
I just have a little notch thing, because I'm too damn lazy when I get home, because all I want to do is go to the damn bar and drink or pick up some hooch or whatever and have a good time.
Yep.
And so they go hit a crossbody, like a regular crossbody, on me, and I roll through. And this wasn't even nowhere near the finish. We were like 6 minutes in and had 10 minutes ago, 10 minutes in the match, and they just didn't kick out.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I get up and I'm looking around like, what the hell happened? And I don't know. Am I allowed to cuss on here?
Absolutely, man. Bring it.
I was looking around the referee, I said, "What do I do?" And he said, "Raise your fucking hands, dumbass." So I put my arms up.
What? So what?
I put my arms up in the air.
What was the explanation? How come the guy didn't kick out? You just forgot?
Just slept on it or what?
Didn't hear the first hand hit, didn't hear the count.
Yeah. Does that happen? Does that happen a lot? Or?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure it does. I've seen it happen several times. I've seen a guy hit the worst looking standing elbow, and a guy didn't hear it and didn't kick out.
Oh.
So, and I kept looking, kept bumping into the guy with that elbow and said, my God, that's a dangerous elbow you got there. So the guy come back and started yelling at the referee, the one who didn't kick out. He's like, why, blah, 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 something, why'd you count the 3? And ref said, because you didn't kick out, you stupid shit.
I like this ref already. This is great.
It was a different ref, but okay. So, it happens more than you'd think.
Yeah. And so as so this was this is your first match. So I'm assuming you were like, I have no idea what's going on. But as as you get more experience, you're trained to kind of be like, maybe pull the guy up or let go of the pin or something like that. I'm assuming, and kind of look out for that kind of stuff. But that's funny.
Well, yeah. Well, if it's any consolation, I doubt maybe there's 2 people left that was on that show, my first show, that's still wrestling.
Right. I got you.
Because we had 16 people in my training class, and I believe I'm the only one left.
No notable names.
No.
Yeah.
Just like me, just like a bunch of ham and eggers.
Yeah.
We're all the same. We had a very rigorous training, coming up, because he really, taught us the old school way and ran a lot of people off. We had to do a lot of calisthenics.
Yeah.
A lot of Hindu air squats. We called them Hindus, but they're the air squats. Lots of push-ups. After we've done we've done between 200 and 500 air squats, then to put 200 push-ups, then we'd have to get in the ring and run the ropes. And that was before we could even learn anything. Oh, he would burn us out. He was trying to run people off.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Because that was the old way to do it.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. That's this is very old school. So then you're with Brian. How long are you there for? I
believe my training lasted 6 months before he allowed us to be done with everything.
Yep. And then it's kind of like a, hey, go find matches kind of a thing, go get booked.
Yeah. He didn't want to let us loose until he realized we couldn't embarrass his name.
Yeah. Right. Makes sense.
Pretty good theory. Yeah.
Where do you go from there? You're trying to get booked places where do you look for?
Well, I was bouncing around the state of Ohio a good bit because I live in southeastern Ohio still to this day. It's in the hillbilly part of Ohio, right now I live a mile and a half from the West Virginia line. I could walk to West Virginia in 5 minutes from where I live now. So I did a lot of wrestling shows in the state of West Virginia. And I really like wrestling in West Virginia, compared to the other states that I've been in.
Yeah.
Granted, the crowds may not be as big, but the crowds buy into it a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
So I was doing a couple shows in West Virginia, for a while because I was, it's hard to get bookings when you start, especially when you live in southeastern Ohio.
Yeah. Is there just not on, or is it like what's out there? What's we're just obviously we're not familiar with that area too well. So,
well, a lot of the one place that I wanted to get on when I first coming up was a place called Ohio Championship Wrestling, and it was out of Coshocton, Ohio. And I thought that was the big leagues one time. I was like, man, I got to get there. I got to get on this place. So, I trimmed my character around and I worked it up to where, it was something that they could use. And then eventually they brought me in because I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a good time.
I've heard that once or twice. Yeah.
They booked me because it was the funniest way is why I got booked there and how. I don't believe it had anything to do with my wrestling ability.
Okay.
Just your mouth.
And there's a wonderful story to go with this.
Let's hear it.
All right. I was wrestling in Chillicothe, Ohio for a really terrible wrestling promotion. And I don't want to go ahead and bury the name. I'm not going to say who it was or bury the promotion, but they were the absolute shits, the worst. But it was, I was like a year and a half in, and I was just trying to get my feet wet. And I knew that I had to go out and get my name out there to network. Mm-hmm. So a fellow by the name of Jeremy Madrox and Matt Mason, who were on the OCW roster, drove down to the show to say hi to a couple people that were in town that night. And I kind of knew them from a little bit, and they weren't trying to they were looking for me at the end of my match, and they couldn't find me. And at the time, my tag partner was looking for me. And then they said, Hey, Mike, where's Jock at? Oh, he's probably out back fucking some rat. So they walk around back and they find me out back fucking some rat. out in the middle of the open.
Just out there.
Like in my gear.
In your gear. Amazing.
In my gear. I did not stop. I just look over at him, give him a wink, and say, I'll be done in 5 minutes.
Unbelievable. And that's what sealed it? That's what sealed the deal?
I believe that they called the promoter Jeff Cannon that night and said, hey, we got to book this guy.
This guy's a ton of fun. We need him.
Yeah, he's a great time. And I'm not trying to disparage the girls by calling them rats or anything. That's just what the phrase was.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what she thought she was. I think she realized it was just one of those deals. I was just trying to be me and have a good time. And I am the king of the one night stands. So
yeah, man. Yeah, Harmon has the shirt to prove it. Absolutely.
He does. So they got me on at OCW, and I was, after that, it, branched out quite a lot there.
Nice. I was going to ask that too, like because I definitely, we love the character, but I wanted to know like how much of that is Jock. Is that like that cliche?
Apparently quite a bit.
Apparently quite a bit. Yeah. It's come to be like quite cliched when people say like, oh, it's just, personality cranked to 11, but is that kind of the real deal with you? Like, is that just how you are? Or is it
it's not a character, brother.
Yeah, it's the real deal, right? I love it.
It's no gimmick, man.
No gimmick. Perfect. Awesome.
It's just me. Like, I think I'm always cranked up to 110.
Nice.
So, all the time. So, I like to have fun. I like to drink. I like to go out with the boys till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in some strange town in the middle of nowhere. I love it.
Awesome.
So
then you get booked there, and then does it just keep rolling from there? Do you kind of just build up like this this image, and the people are like, oh, we got to get Jock on. He's a good time. Does it just keep going from there?
Yeah. Well, yeah. A lot of it is a lot of promoters at first didn't know if they wanted to book me because of my style, because I've never been afraid of being a heel. And there's a lot of promotions now that there's no such thing as heels or faces.
Gotcha.
But there are a lot of places in Ohio, and I call them country shows or smaller, not small towns, but like country shows where the people buy into it. Mm-hmm. So I started getting booked at a place in Lima, Ohio called War Wrestling. And I'd never heard of them before. I walk out the curtain to wrestle there, and then I see 900 people in the crowd and about shit my pants.
Damn. Yeah.
And I was like, why isn't this place more mainstream? If it's drawing 900 people. But I know why they're not, is because they're, an arm bar gets the same reaction as people doing moonsaults.
Ah, I gotcha.
We've
and a lot of guys don't like wrestling there. A lot of guys don't like wrestling a place like that because some guys today, it is the day of the age. People like to do as fancy stuff as you possibly can. So I started getting over there as a heel. You know, the fans would try to come fight me, and I would, deal with them, and got my name around the state of Ohio pretty good. And then I did a battle royal in Cleveland for Cleveland All Pro Wrestling, because I got booked for Cleveland All Pro, who was by a promoter by the name of JT Lightning. And JT ended up getting cancer and passing away. And he's a big deal in Cleveland. Cleveland, Ohio is a big wrestling town. So they had a battle royal for him. I mean, a benefit show, like, a memorial show or whatever.
Right.
To celebrate his life. And they asked me if I'd be in the battle royal, and I said, sure. And I got a pair of sweet, cowboy looking boots, and they're called rodeo clown boots. Okay. And they're like tennis shoe bottoms, and it looked like a cowboy boot all the way up. And they've got like strings where you can tie. It looks like I'm wearing a basketball shoe and a cowboy boot mixed together.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I'll have to take a picture of them sometime and show y'all.
Yeah, definitely.
And so the promoter from AIW, John Thorne, was in this battle royal. And I get in the corner and I start working him over, and he looks at me and says, "Nice boots." I didn't think anything about it. And then a couple weeks after that, I get a call from AIW, the other promoter up there by the name of Chris Bryan or Chandler Biggins, who just passed away just recently. And they wanted to book me because they were looking for an old school guy. They're Modern Smart Mark Wrestling Federation. I guess you could call it that. I don't know what the word's super indie. Let's call it super indie.
Okay. Yeah.
But they wanted an old school character, and it just had to be right place, right time. I give them all the credit in the world for putting me on the map anywhere. Whatever I've got, I give them all the credit.
So they brought you in, and it just took off from there.
Yeah, it really did, because I was coming in there and I was different. Yeah, I was running old school matches.
What year was this?
Oh, Jesus Christ. 2012.
Yeah.
So it took me, 4 or 5 years to even get my name out there anywhere, And I kind of lucked into it too. So, but, and then I got into a big feud up there with a guy by the name of the Duke, and he was another old school guy. And it was kind of funny. They wanted me to come in, and they said, "You got any ideas on what to do?" And I said, "I'll just call everybody on the fucking roster a spot monkey, and I'll go after the head spot monkey and who's not a spot monkey."
Yeah, right. That's awesome. Right? Yeah, makes sense. Good.
So, and then we would do a storyline to where we built it up to a bull rope match, and still to this day, that's the best match I've ever had in my life.
You and the Duke.
You and the Duke at Absolution 7. The match is actually online on YouTube. I'd encourage folks to look it up.
Well, I spent an hour watching. I just typed in Jock Samson on YouTube and a playlist of the top videos that came up. 90% of them were promos. One of them you were naked in the shower.
Of course.
Of course. Why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, there was one with you and Chase Owens at a fair, it seemed like.
Logan, West Virginia.
Yep, Chase Owens is actually coming to Limitless at the end of the month.
That'd be great. Love that guy.
Yep, there was another one. You were in a over the top rope battle royal, and I saw MJF was that one. He got chased out by Sonny Kiss. But yeah, there was just a ton of promos. You took 3 rats out behind a dumpster and showed them train. Yep, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, your YouTube backlog is pretty impressive, my man. I will say there's a ton out there, dude, and it's all gold. I love it. Like, you can just fall down like this Jock Samson rabbit hole, which I've done a few nights in a row now, and it's pretty good, man.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. And also,
it seemed like you were kind of on the YouTube social media bandwagon kind of before some of these other indie guys.
Yeah, for a guy who claims to know nothing about technology, you're certainly
you've got more videos than most guys out there.
Well, I just want to point this out there that my wife is very tech savvy.
There you go. Yep.
And she taught me and learned me up pretty good about how to operate all that bullshit. And the only applications I know how to use is Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
I love that.
And like, I'm learning how to try to edit my own videos, and it probably looks like a fifth grader trying to do a book report or a PowerPoint or some kind of shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really trying.
You're trying hard, yeah.
Jock, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. For this show, I do nothing but show up. I'll just tell you that right now.
True. Confession.
You know what?
Kids.
And that's and to be honest with you, that's what 95% of professional wrestlers do, is just show up.
Yep.
They don't. A lot of them. You don't see promos. You don't see promos anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what's so funny, man, is like Harmon said, like when he typed in your name in YouTube, like a lot of your top hits, man, are promos. Like you're really good on the mic. That's kind of one thing that we're super into, like, especially with you, is like, if you can wrestle and you can talk on the mic, I feel like you've got a pretty damn good shot at sticking around in pro wrestling. And
I don't even think you need to be able to wrestle. I think as long as you are entertaining on the microphone, people will cheer for you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like if it wasn't for me being able to cut a promo, I don't believe I would still be in wrestling right now, because it's just my moveset isn't up to standards of today's wrestling. Like, in the ring, I consider myself a storyteller.
Right.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with the way these kids are doing business today by any means. I mean, they're doing what they can do and to get over. And a lot of them doing a lot of great stuff. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody what works for them. But I know if my promos make me known before I get there, and it helps my people care about a match that they normally wouldn't care about.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, man. Absolutely.
Because you don't see a lot of psychology today in a wrestling ring, and you don't see storytelling.
Yeah.
In matches a lot of times. A lot of times it's just like, it's just like watching figure skating or gymnastics. You're going to see the cool shit.
Right. Yeah, which is cool, but it's like, I would much prefer a storyline along with something that, with that. So
absolutely. And considering that, like, since everybody out there is doing everything, I'm going to be the different guy by doing nothing.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, good call.
Right.
And when I mean nothing, I punch and kick.
You're getting your heat, you're getting your shine, and you're telling the story in the ring. I had the same conversation with Martin Stone not too long ago. Danny Burch down at NXT. He's like, I have 4 moves. He says, I don't know how to get over. He says, but I know how to tell a story in the ring and make the other guy's moveset suit me to tell a story. And I was like, that's all you do.
Yeah.
And he had a match with Keith Lee. Keith Lee, this great big giant man who can do every single move out there. And Martin Stone did his 4 moves and took a lot of chops and took a lot of abuse, but he told a great story and the match was awesome. So
yeah,
I think that selling and everything is almost more important,
Mm-hmm. I'll take whatever they want. I'll do whatever moves my opponent wants to do, and I don't care. Whatever you want to do, it's fine. We're not talking about my moves. I said, what do? You tell me what we're going to do. And then it's my turn to take over. Everyone's like, what do you do in the ring? I said, shit, I don't know. Goddamn match ain't fucking started yet.
Nice. Were you,
do you do a lot of feeling out the crowd during the match?
If it was up to me, I would call 100%, except maybe the finish in the ring. I'd call everything in the ring.
Yeah.
100%, because we were forced to do it in training. Like in West Virginia, a lot of times when you come up, they don't want you calling shit in the back. The old timers, there's a lot of old guys, grumpy asses down there. They hate it because they realize that you don't have to do anything in a certain places to get over.
Right.
If you know how to tell a story and you know how to work, you know how to wrestle, you can get over by doing hardly anything.
Yeah.
But, I'm comfortable calling a whole match in a ring.
Yeah, it's that old school mentality. It's the old way to do it. It's nice.
No.
Sorry, go
ahead.
No,
well, I was going to say if you're in a match and you get lost and you get all this shit wrote and the crowd don't care, then you're going to have to mix it up and change it.
Yeah. How important is feeling out the crowd? Like Harmon mentioned, like feeling out a crowd. How important is that? Does it vary, like going from, town to town? Like I know,
oh, yeah.
Like how do you do that? How do you gauge the crowd? I mean, you especially being a heel. I mean, you're pretty much your job is to get the heat. So.
Well, a lot of times if I'm not the first match, I'll just watch them.
Yeah,
I'll watch what the first match does and see what they do. And if I'm the first match, I go out there and figure it out.
Right.
But I remember being on a show sometime in Cleveland, and this one match went out there, and these two guys, I think they did every goddamn wrestling move in the book, which is fine. But the crowd sat on their hands, and they didn't react to it because guys weren't allowing them that time to react and sell and all that. So the guy comes to the back, complaining, bitching, and moaning, saying, "My God, I can't believe they didn't pop for none of that. I double stomped this motherfucker, and they still didn't pop." And I said, "Well, motherfucker, once you double stomped them and they didn't, maybe you should have done something else."
Yep.
Just
right.
I was like, if they ain't popping for, why don't you tell a fan to shut up and see how far it gets you?
Yeah.
Right. So I went out there and the next match was up and I told the kids and I said, all that shit you just planned? Fuck it. Go out there and tell the crowd to shut up and stall and they'll see what they do when they fucking ate it up.
Nice.
So, but a lot of times people are so intent on doing their stuff, they were refusing to change it.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of getting heat, man, I think the Trump thing is genius. By the way,
what do you mean?
What do you get? What do you guys get? No, man. Hey, I just when I first saw you like holding the Trump picture and bring it, and I just thought it was great, man. People are booing. I think it's great. I fucking love it. I know that might not be too far off from the truth to you. So, but I just think it's great.
Hey, all I got to say is every day on Twitter, 90% of the people say they hate the motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
He still ended up becoming president. So where were they?
No, I know. I know. But I mean, I just think it's great. Like 90% of people say they don't like him. So what better than bring out a picture of him and talk about him constantly and just get those boos, man. It's like it's a heat magnet. I love it. It's fantastic.
I'm trying to get him elected in 4 years again.
He's
already on the re-election campaign.
Yeah, Jock Samson.
Brother, I already got to sign up my yard.
There you go.
I got my assault rifles locked up, and which, honest to God, I don't have an assault rifle. I'll just say that. I'm joking there, but I don't have assault rifles. But, even Trump don't think we need assault rifles. I don't think we need assault rifles. As long as I got my damn hunting rifle and don't take my sidearm, I'm okay.
Yeah, you're good, man. You're good.
You know what I mean?
Let's see. What was I going to say? Oh, so growing up, were you like always this like charismatic and stuff? Were you like class clown or anything like that? Or did comedy just kind of come natural to you?
I was always a show off. Yeah, probably. My mom, I'm technically an only child, even though I have a sister, but I was 16 when she was born. So pretty much an only child growing up.
Gotcha.
I was a ham, I went straight into playing music. I think, if you're an only child, you just have a tendency to, try to stand out and show off. Because it was just me and my parents were divorced and I was raised with my mom. And it was just me and her and probably in a really small fucking house.
Yeah. Huh.
Like it was so damn small that you could fit the house into my house now. You could fit the whole house inside my house.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very big. It was a small little almost a cabin up in the woods.
Huh. And then your sister comes along, and you're 16, so you're like almost out of the house.
Yeah. Since my parents were divorced, so she lived in Columbus with my dad.
Gotcha.
So, and my sister is like the complete opposite of me, like very backward, not backward in a bad way, and was an introvert.
Gotcha. Yep.
And I'm complete outward. Like, I'll tell you to your face if I don't like you or like you or what I feel, and people either like it or dislike it.
Yep.
But I'll do it with a smile.
I feel like my sister and I were like that. But she was like, "Oh, I don't have any friends and nowhere to go." I'm like, "Well, we live in a town with 52 miles of dirt road. You can go wherever you want."
Yep. Mm-hmm. Get on your bike.
Because I sure self.
Oh yeah. Well, she grew up in Columbus, Ohio, a big city.
Right.
And then I grew up in the sticks. And she literally just moved to Seattle, Washington. So I've been hammering her about all them liberals out there. And she hates that when I get on her about that. But whole different story there. We can get a whole different podcast on that.
Yeah, we'll save that for the main event political podcast. Yeah. Well, kind of on the same lines, I guess, a little bit. What's the deal with the progressive liberal guy? I've never met him. I don't know him. I saw like a video of him. You've worked with him before, right? Is that the...
Well, I'm officially proud that I turned him babyface in the state of West Virginia.
That is quite the accomplishment. Oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing.
I just because I told the promoter, he's like, "You're not going to turn him babyface. I'll bet you $100 I can go out there and turn him babyface." Well, the $100 was the payday that night, so he had to pay me no matter what. So, yeah, he's doing a pretty good deal. And just like me, he's really not playing a gimmick.
Yeah.
We don't ever talk politics when I'm around him. We never talk politics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm right and he's wrong.
There you go.
Work.
All right. Nice. Let's talk. So last season on the show, we did a pro wrestlers versus zombies thing, and you called in, which we definitely appreciate, man. It was awesome. We played the clip.
You were in the opening credits.
Yeah, in the opening. What was that like? Was it just like you went to a show and worked, and they were just kind of there filming, or what was the deal with that?
Yeah, well, they filmed that movie in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and that is the town that I could walk to from where I live.
Right.
Because West Virginia, if you have enough West Virginians on the crowd, you get a tax credit. So a lot of people are filming in West Virginia, especially a lot of the smaller filmmakers. So they tried to hit me up and, tried to lowball me and say that, "Hey, man, but you're going to be in a movie with Roddy Piper and Kurt Angle," and I didn't give three shits. Like, I love those guys. Roddy Piper's one of my heroes. But, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to be excited about, I'm going to do something because I'm getting the name or whatever.
Right.
So it just didn't work out for me to be in the movie, because I could have been in every scene. They wanted me to miss 2 weeks worth of bookings for Chicken Scratch just for an opportunity to be in a terrible movie.
2 weeks? That movie didn't take 2 weeks to shoot. No way.
It took 2 weeks. Swear to God.
Wow.
I guess Roddy Piper and Hacksaw Jim Duggan were drinking every night in some of these bars around here, and I went looking for it. That was the only time I went. See, I'd mark out. I'd go drinking with them. But I'm not going to be in a movie just being a movie with them.
Yeah.
So I had a show that was ran in Parkersburg High School, and that was the only time I had an agreement to be in their movie, was to be in the opening credits.
Yeah, the director ended up tweeting at us and stuff after that.
Oh yeah, we definitely got called out for that.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed fine. I mean, he didn't see, and we didn't care, but it was funny. It was like, he tweeted at us, was like, "Hey, it was a really fun time to make," or something. And I was like, "Well, it's dog shit, but thanks, good on you."
Yeah, it wasn't entertaining at all, man. Like, I watched it with my buddies, and we just like,
yeah,
this was the shit.
It did portray Shane Douglas in such a light that he came to Maine like 2-3 weeks ago, and I was like, I'm not gonna go see that piece of shit.
Oh, I like Shane. He's good people.
Yeah. So you mentioned Piper, kind of one of your heroes in wrestling. Speaking of heroes in wrestling, anybody else? Anybody notable? Maybe growing up you liked? Maybe modeled anything after?
Hulk Hogan's the greatest professional wrestler of all time.
Hulk Hogan?
And he's my favorite. Hulk Hogan. Nice. My favorite. I just loved everything about him growing up as a kid.
You were a Hulkamaniac.
I was a Hulkamaniac, man. I wrote him a letter when Earthquake, hurt him. And, we thought he was going to retire. I was begging him not to retire. I wrote him a letter. I had, my Hulk Hogan T-shirts,
That's amazing,
so
man. Yeah.
He was amazing. He was it, like watching him and Andre when I was going, I'm 38 years old. So that I tell you, I'm not as old as I'm not as old as I feel. I feel like I'm 60.
Yeah.
But watching him and Andre stare at each other was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. It's iconic, man. It's great. Yeah. I was, we're 35. Right? So like we're roughly the same.
36.
Oh, you're 36. Oh, great. And so, same era, man. I was a huge Hulkamaniac as a kid. Big time. I remember that Earthquake spot, man. I remember
my podcast setup is set on a table that is using a twin sheet that has Hulk Hogan's rock and wrestling characters on it.
Yeah, man. Oh, I love it.
And it's kind of funny, 20 some years later at WrestleMania, my favorite match of all time is Hogan and Rock.
Oh yeah.
Favorite.
That's your favorite match? Nice.
Favorite match, number one.
What do you like about it? Why is it number one for you?
Crowd reaction, man.
Crowd reaction. The stare down.
The stare down when he threw him off and flex and the crowd's on their feet. Just like knowing somebody, and I always ask when I get in car loads with kids, and I always try to say, tells me a lot about an individual when they tell me who their favorite wrestler is and what their favorite match is, because that tells me a lot about what they are, because if I, they're probably thinking of me, they say, who's your favorite wrestler? I say Hulk Hogan. They probably look at me like, Jesus, what a fucking fossil.
Well, I guess, but I don't know, man.
I'm starting to feel like that too.
Right. Yeah, we're right there with you, man. What's the worst one? What's the worst one that you've like come across? Have you any notables where you've like, hey, like who's your favorite wrestler, and they just say something awful, and you're just like, whoa, that is telling of who you are as a person.
I spent a weekend with Jake Roberts, and it wasn't up to par.
No. Huh.
Yeah. So, but he's got himself right.
Oh, yeah. This is before the whole
before
DDP stuff.
Yes, way before, way before, and it broke my heart a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah. So, but cocaine is a hell of a drug.
That's what they say.
That's what shit, man. Everyone does stupid shit when they're on drugs. Good for him. He's straight.
Yeah.
So, but nothing wrong with him now. So he's got his shit together.
Yeah. So you're 38. You're traveling around. Come across some young guys doing indie wrestling. Anybody who like their pick as like favorite wrestler? Anything stick out that's like terribly bad? Like where you go, your favorite wrestler is, I don't know.
And you're a moron. Okay, yeah. I see how it is.
No, I don't really. As long as they wouldn't say like David Arquette or something, I'd be all right.
God, can you imagine? Yeah, I like that David Arquette guy. He's really good.
I won't criticize anybody for liking who they like. Because it's just, that's just the way it's going to be. It makes you feel old when someone says their favorite wrestler is like, who's your favorite? Oh, Zack Sabre Jr. And I'm going like, man, like, 20 years ago, you never heard that.
Right.
You wouldn't hear someone so young. Like, you're not hearing the names that you would expect. You're hearing independent names as people's favorite wrestlers.
Right.
Now.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of that now, man. You don't hear a lot of people liking the WWE guys
Right.
as much. Like, I love John Cena. I think he's the best in the world. I know I'm going to catch heat for that, but
well, I mean, I don't know, man. That's not like, I mean, I know that you'll get the fanboys that are like, Cena sucks, but like, I don't know, man. We've talked about it numerous times on the show. I mean, when he's on, dude, he is fucking on. Like, he is the man. So yeah, like, it's definitely not.
Like his run 2 years ago with the U.S. title, I thought was one of his best runs ever when he was doing the open challenge and everything.
Oh yeah, open challenge, so good.
I judge wrestlers like on the greatness of a wrestler by how much money they're drawing.
Yep.
A lot of people go by wrestling, but me, I pick by draw.
Yeah, who's bringing in the money?
So
3 years ago, I would have sold the Miz for a bag of oranges, and you couldn't convince me he's not one of the top 5 best wrestlers in WWE right now.
Yeah, like, I hate to tell folks, but wrestling is not the most important part of wrestling.
It is not.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think it's a really hard concept for people to understand, though, sometimes, especially this day and age where everybody's got a keyboard in the internet and they can just say whatever they want. I mean, and you get people say like, "Oh, that guy can't work," or "Oh, John Cena can't work." It's like, well, he clearly can, because he's been doing it for a very long time and he's made a lot of money at it, so he clearly can.
Well, I tell you right now, Vince McMahon would love to have 5 or 10 John Cenas.
Yeah.
So they need to get him another John Cena. John Cena was the guy who made sure wrestling is going to be around another 10, 15 years. It's going to be his, because all them little kids that bought the T-shirts and the headbands, they're the ones that's going to grow up. And he's their Hulk Hogan.
Exactly. Yep.
Or whoever, Steve Austin or whoever.
Yeah.
But they need to get another guy like that. So in another 15 years, it'll be, it'll mean something. Little kids don't care about work rate.
Right.
Yeah.
Little kids care about merch and, buying baby. That's what it's about. So
little kids like the 5-knuckle shuffle.
Yep, that's why he does it every fucking match. That's why he does it. It sells.
Do you think? I mean, I know we talked the other day. You haven't watched a lot of the WWE stuff, but like a guy like Braun Strowman, if they let him do some other things, he's so big and he's so charismatic. I think he could be somebody that could carry a next generation across. I
would think so. He got a great look. He's a big, strong motherfucker. I mean, it's just whatever he does with his deal. I mean, it's all up to him. Everyone wants to complain about the booking, but I'm gonna tell you, they put polka dots on Dusty, and he made money from it. He made money with it.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
It's how you respond to it. I just kind of wish the promos. I think they would let them try to get over on their own. Right. I think they would. I think the fans would. I think you would see a lot better promos and possibly some more guys get over.
Yeah,
that normally wouldn't get over. So, once the promo started looking manufactured, I stopped caring about wrestling because I'm a promo first guy.
Yeah.
Because if you can't talk me to watch your match and convince me to watch your match, right. By what you're saying.
I mean, I remember back in the 80s and 90s, most of your show was promos. You had 3 or 4 matches on the show, and the rest of it was promos. You had like Rick Martel.
Oh, absolutely.
Promos against Rick Rude. And it was like, oh, this is so great. And
remember those little like inset boxes that would come up like on the screen like before matches, and they would cut promos there.
Like as the guy was coming.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Those are great. I miss those.
Or like the opponent would be talking trash while the other guy was in the ring.
Yeah. So good.
They knew how to gauge interest with everybody.
Yeah. I know, like, we'll stop talking about WWE here in a second, but like the other night, like Goldust came out and cut like an awesome promo, like on Cena, and I was like, "Fucking A, man, absolutely!"
Like, it got a little weird, but yeah.
It got weird, but it made you look up from your phone, didn't it? It made you fucking pay attention, and it was like, man, Goldust is getting some time. This is fantastic.
Yeah, mostly because I'm old and I love Goldust, but
well, that too, because I love Goldust too. But it was cool.
I still think he's like in the ring wise, he's one of the best wrestlers the WWE still has. For Christ's sakes,
he always was a good hand. Always a good hand.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a guy too, like perfect example, Jock, that you were making earlier. He's a guy that like doesn't do a lot, but he tells a good story. You know, he's got those moves. You know, he like falls on his back and does that chop, but then he's doing things. He's doing that little like inhale, exhale thing at a guy that's in the corner. Like he's not doing moonsaults out there. He's not doing like anything crazy. But he's telling
it was
really
like rubbing Cena's chest the other day, and it was
yeah, you know, like
comfortable.
You got uncomfortable? Nice.
Yeah. No, like I can see John Cena like getting uncomfortable with it and stuff.
I like when you're uncomfortable. Oh, goodness. So Jock, what's next for you, man? Where do you see, you know, the future in this wrestling for you? What's going on?
Well, you know, and being 38, I don't really see myself going up to the big leagues and you know, doing the thing up there. I everyone should want to get there. Just don't ever see me getting there. You know, I just want to entertain people on the indies for as long as I can, for as long as my body allows me to.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to be, you know, I want to be the most entertaining guy on every show that I'm on.
Right, and with your personality and your mic skills, I think you should be doing more. I don't know. It maybe not be what you want or whatever, but you know, more traveling, getting around. I mean, I don't know why a guy like you wasn't getting, you know, more bookings in the Northeast or getting a call to California to PWG or Wrestle Circus and you know down in Texas. I mean, all these shows. I mean, that you hear about, they're big shows. You're the kind of guy that. And I'm not saying this because, you know, we talk on Twitter and stuff, but you're entertaining. You know, that's the kind of guys that I want to see on those shows, you know?
Well, a lot of it is just style, probably. A lot of style conflict. When they could get someone that's going to, you know, give them, you know, everything they can in there, that's what they're going to take.
Yeah, I mean, we always kind of you know, try to sell you up here to certain promoters we know and stuff, try and get you up here. I mean, I can think of like numerous matchups right now of guys that are like around. Like, I would love to see you and Troy Nelson. I know you've worked with Dick Justice before. I'd love to see you and Dick Justice up here. He's one of our favorites up here when he comes.
He's killing it around here. Killing it.
He is killing it around here. Yeah, man, he's fun. So. You guys, I mean, I'd love to see you guys go at it up here, do something together up here. I think
we've had some good times. We've had some good times in Rochester with me and him. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh my goodness,
he's a fun dude. I'd love to see you do something with our boys, the Middlesex Express. Those guys are fun. I feel like they're right in your wheelhouse. And then kind of a little dream match for me. I don't know if you know him or not, but I want to see just a hoss fight between you and James Drake. I just think that would be an awesome matchup. I think so. He does a lot of work around here too, but I think he's based out of Georgia. So I think, or maybe
Georgia.
No, Carolina, South Carolina. I think he's out of South Carolina. Yeah.
That's a long drive.
Yeah, no.
Wrestling.
Yeah, dude, he comes up here to Maine all the time.
Yeah, him and Anthony Henry were Evolve Tag Champs.
Yeah.
The Workhorsemen.
Yeah.
The Workhorsemen.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So I figure, I don't know, it's good style matchups for you, man. I know I'm trying to play like fantasy booker here, but I just think, man, we gotta see some Jock Samson up here in the Maine area. So
well, I've always wanted to come to the state where Stephen King was from and to make him mad by spouting the love of Donald John Trump, because I know he gets
fired.
He gets hot.
He does get hot. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm talking like. Yeah, it drives me nuts reading him. I was like, man, I like your movies.
You hang out in Maine enough, man. You'll see him. You'll see him at the grocery store.
Stephen King movies aren't really.
You're kidding.
Anyway.
No, man.
You'll see him in Maine.
Absolutely.
He still lives there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a house in Bangor.
Yeah. He hangs out, man. You see him at the local grocery store all the time, man. It's good. He's Stephen King. He's creepy as fuck looking, but yeah, if you want to go up and talk to him, feel free.
No, but I would love visiting New England's one of the places that I've always wanted to just, even if I wasn't wrestling, I would just love to, visit New England and just go up there and tell you how much I hate Tom Brady.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Tom Brady. Come on. That's right. Cause you're a Buckeyes guy, right? No.
I'm a Buckeye and a Steelers fan.
Yeah. Oh man. The worst.
I'm closer to Pittsburgh than I am to Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But I feel that anybody, and I mean anybody, would win with a Bill Belichick team.
Oh man. We're
anybody.
We're gonna.
Matt Castle went 11-5.
Matt, he did. He really did. And that was the year they didn't make the playoffs too. That's hilarious.
Well, that was a pretty. Everybody had high records. 11-5. You're usually making the playoffs.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
5 that year. So
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like Tom Brady's running everybody out.
Yep.
Let's trade Garoppolo.
Oh, I know. I was kind of a little heartbroken at that.
I was too.
Now look at what he threw for 500 yards in the Super Bowl. Sure, he did. He never had to split coverage. All the wide receivers were so wide open the entire time. It was just like they were drawn up to get open.
It's almost like they
drew it up. Our defense didn't go by. So,
hey, I have this one guy that lived down here. I told him Aaron Rodgers would have never lost a Super Bowl if he played for Bill Belichick.
Oh my God!
I can't disagree.
You and your love for Aaron Rodgers.
I don't love Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
he beat my team. He beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl, but I don't love him. But I still think he's the best right now. I think Big Ben would have won 4 or 5 Super Bowls up there.
Big Ben, man, he's a tough son of a bitch. Like I'll say, like I mean, I'm not like the biggest Steelers guy, but like Ben Roethlisberger, he's hard. He's a hard guy to take down. Like he's pretty ruthless. So.
And I can't give and the fact that Brady played for Michigan.
Well, that was my thing. Yeah, is that I was like, oh God, that's why he hates him right there.
Hate.
Started off with a foot.
Like I'll talk politics, but like I get mad. That'll get me off my rocker about Michigan football.
Oh my God,
I hate them.
Yeah, I've been to the Big House twice, I'm sorry, twice to see them play Ohio State. I've been a couple more times after that, but I've seen them play Ohio State twice in the Big House, and it was absolutely ridiculous. Like, I mean, nuts, just nuts.
It's the greatest rivalry in all sports.
Yeah, the Ohio State fans that came I was terrified. I was like, this is amazing. It's like in a good way, though. I was like, this is incredible.
Now I got to ask, what years did you go?
I went during the shoelace years.
So Michigan won one game.
Michigan won one game, and then they lost another one. The first
they've only won one time since in the last 15 years or something. But
yeah, so the first time I went, they lost. The second time I went, they won. In the field, it was an absolute riot. Like everybody charged the field because it was like such an upset. So, yeah, but it was good.
No, I was so mad that day.
I bet. Yeah,
I was so mad.
Damn.
But that gets me mad right there, buddy. You throw me off. You want to, I'll be fighting mad.
Oh no, I don't want to piss off Jock Samson.
All them cocksuckers up there, I hate them.
Hey man, so what do you got coming up? You got shows coming up you want to plug, or what do you got coming up?
Well, Saturday I'm actually getting on a boat and going to somewhere in the Caribbean with my wife. And some friends of ours for a week-long vacation.
Nice.
So that's going to be, one of my many, many vacations that I take.
I'm picking up your sarcasm.
But as soon as I get back, the day after on March 18th, I'm getting in the car and driving up to Greektown Pro.
Yep.
And I'm going to wrestle up there on that day. And then I believe the very next week I got AIW in Cleveland on March 23rd. And then I drive to New Jersey for a company called Dog Wrestling, DAWG. And I think that's all I can think of off the top of my head right now. But a lot of stuff, if you really want to know and see what where I'm at, just get on all my social media pages. Everything is there's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but it's spelled Jock Samson, SAMSON. Just type the name in and you'll be able to see where I'm at, what I'm doing. You'll see my promos. You'll see all my bullshit, a bunch of pictures of Donald John Trump. As I like to call him, Supreme Leader.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, I saw your video with Colt Cabana. You're like the Supreme Leader, and I'm going to take a show. So you almost owned a podcast once.
Almost owned your own podcast there. The Art of
I wouldn't know how to do anything on it. I'd probably had to hire Colt back to run it.
Right, or just have your wife help you. She's
she could probably figure it out.
Right?
Yeah, my wife's got a master's degree, so
she'll figure it out. She can figure anything out. Then nice. Oh my goodness, Harmon. Harmon, you got anything else for Jock tonight?
Yeah, I guess I'll have to drive up to like Pennsylvania or New York. I'm not going to New Jersey. That place is a shithole. So
it is the armpit.
Yep. It really is. It is. So maybe I'll have to drive out to like Pennsylvania or something. Not Jersey.
Well, I tell you guys, if I ever get up that way, up to Maine, well, you guys take me out. I'll buy you one of your local beers.
Yeah, what is
whatever it is?
What is your beer of choice?
The thing about Maine is you can't buy beer after like midnight.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, it's 1 a.m. Right?
1 a.m.
That's fucking stupid.
It is. Yeah,
you're telling me.
Yeah, 12.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, 12 is last call, and
the
then
good thing is, if beer is in your car, you can drink all you want. So.
No.
Oh, okay.
Unbelievable, Harmon.
Well, the bars in Ohio shut down at 2:30, but the bars in West Virginia shut down at 3:30. So we usually make our way across the river for another hour.
There you go. Smart.
So, but my beer choice is actually Coors Banquet beer.
Ah, the Banquet beer. Excellent.
The original.
The
original. If it's good enough for Sam Elliott, it's good enough for me.
Yes.
I can't argue with that.
No, that's a hard argue right there. Nice.
Yeah.
But that is my beer choice. What's the beer choice up there?
Oh man, Portland, Maine has or Maine in general has
we have more craft breweries than you can shake a stick.
Yeah. No, the distaste from Jock Samson about craft.
Fucking hipsters are hanging out there.
There's so many.
Oh, Portland is huge hipster town. Yeah.
Oh my God. I have Jock, how upset are you going to be right now when I tell you that I have a Long Trail brewing company inside a old wrestling moonshine and men of Appalachia koozie? Is that? Are you
disrespectful, John.
Disrespectful? Okay.
I mean, Donald Trump just cried.
Yes, that's all right.
Yeah, that's something Nancy Pelosi would do.
Awesome. Funny.
So
cool, man. So you gave us your social media stuff. People can follow you there. Man. Thanks, man.
Hit me up, man. Tell your promoters tell everyone up there. They want to see me. Get me up there. I'll come up there, and if your wife's good looking, I'll make her happy.
I love it. Cool, man.
I mean, have Missy Hyatt come up with you, I guess, and we probably get her booked. I mean,
I love. She's such a great side chick.
Yeah.
In between her Civil War reenactments, maybe she can come up.
Hey, man. I love history, so there it is.
There you go. Awesome. Jock, thanks, man, for coming on. It was a blast.
Hey, appreciate it, guys.
What a hell of a guy, huh, Harmon? Jesus.
Yeah. Don't you want to vote for Trump now?
I mean, I never do, but but I mean, if there was any way to ever convince me, anyone to convince me, it would be Jock Samson. That guy's fucking awesome. Holy shit.
I mean, I'd bring him up, but I don't have a wife, so he's gonna have to stay with you. So.
No. Jeez, I don't want that guy anywhere near my wife. It's like it was like on that episode of The Family Guy where Clinton just slept with Lois in 2 seconds. That's what it would be like. You
can't compare Jock Samson to Bill Clinton.
I know.
I mean, he hates him that way. I mean, I guess that's the only way.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can compare him.
That's true. Oh my God! But what a great guy. I really hope
Lewinsky was a rat.
So funny. Yeah, I hope he gets up here, man. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun jam. Hang out with him. But yeah, man, awesome guy. If you guys get a chance to ever catch him, if you're anywhere down near Ohio, West Virginia, please do check him out. Go on YouTube, man. He's got like I said during the interview, like his YouTube backlog is ridiculous. Like there's so many videos of him just doing fun stuff, cutting awesome promos, and then also like wrestling.
Just
wrestling,
so many promos.
Yeah, and like wrestling, like fun wrestling matches too. Like Colt Cabana, like I watched that one recently. Just awesome. Like what a good
Colt Cabana, Matt Cross. Who else? I mean, just everybody.
Yeah, man, he's wrestling like the who's who out there. I mean, the guy's just the man. So big thank you to Jock Samson. Finally coming on the show, finally getting him on. But yeah, and hopefully we get to see him up here soon. So,
and if we get enough people talking about it, maybe we can get some guys around here to book him. And he can do a weekend loop in New England, and we can get a chance to hang out and talk with him because he's hilarious.
Yeah, if the weather wasn't so wacky, we could have done this podcast in an ice fishing shack. That would with him. That would have been great. But anyway,
but we had those 70-degree days really killed the ice for me. I'm
really
not going out there.
Really did. Goodness. Anyway, Harmon, thanks for joining me as always. I look forward to seeing you soon. So, where are you? Where are you on social media?
I'm at Harmon316.
Fucking A, yes you are.
I'm also in bed by 8:30 most of the time now.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm doing that.
So old, and I work so early in the morning. So
getting so old. I gotta wake up so early tonight to
like I'll send a message to somebody, and then they message me back at like 10 o'clock. I'm not getting it.
No, that ain't happening.
I'll see that in the morning.
You haven't seen the third hour of Raw in about 5 years.
There's 3 hours of Raw?
Right. I know, apparently. Thank you, Hulu, for cutting it down.
Thank God for Hulu and YouTube clips.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cage Side Seats, for breaking it down segment by segment. Somehow I can watch an entire 3-hour show in 20 minutes in the morning. So
I know, right? Anyway, I'm at Johnny Fashion on Twitter. You guys can catch the show at Main Event Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And like I said, we're on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio. So please go to whichever one you like best and subscribe and rate, review if you'd like. The hotline 929-260-3099 if you guys want to give us a jingle, and the Teespring store. It's pinned to the top of our social media pages. Just go there, click that, find some cool stuff, and support some Main Event Pod stuff. That's about it. Follow the Fox. I gotta give a shout to Follow Fox. The band Follow the Fox, Dylan and Sarah, they're based out of Denver, Colorado. They do the intro and the outro for this here show. Follow them on social media. Follow the Fox Band on Facebook and Instagram. And they have a website, followthefoxband.com. Go there. Get into them. Tell them we sent you. That's it, man. Harmon, you're the best. See you later.
No, you're the best.
Aww.
You know who's not the best? Fucking Winter.
Winter's not the best. Old Man Winter. Ugh.
Such a prick.
Shitty. I hate Old Man Winter right now. Anyway, well, good luck snowblowing or shoveling or, I don't know, setting fire to your driveway. However you want to get rid of that snow. Good luck to you.
I don't even think a blowtorch is going to fix this.
Brutal. So, anyway.
All right, brother.
Listeners at home, thanks for listening. Catch you later.
Bye.
We're gonna talk about wrestling from today in the past. Johnny and Harmon are the Main Event Podcast.